Hello everybody, it's Sarah, and today it's once again time for Top 5 Wednesday. Top 5 Wednesday was created by Lainey from Ginger Reads Lainey, and the host is Sam from Thoughts on Tomes. I will leave the links to both of their channels as well as the Goodreads group in the description box down below, so go and check those out. This week's topic is our top 5 settings that we want to see more of. Those settings could be a specific time period or some countries or worlds that we want to see more of. I really enjoyed thinking about this because I never really consciously thought about what settings I want to see more of, and so I have my 5 settings and I'm going to show them to you right now. What else could be the first setting but the 3 realms from Anne Bishop's Black Jewel series? Anne Bishop hasn't said that she won't continue writing in this world, but just that she doesn't have any stories for this world right now. But I really would love to see her return to this world. I think it's much too complex to just leave it like that and not tell any more stories. Those stories really could be anything. They could be about the Sa Diabolo family, they could be long in the past or far into the future. I don't care, I just want to see some more stories. Next, I have the world from the Kingkiller Chronicles by Patrick Rothfuss. I know that there's at least supposed to be a 3rd book coming, but I am pretty sure even after I have read Doors of Stone, I still will not have had enough of this world. Especially the magic system is just really interesting, and so I just want to see more. I think there are so many more stories that could be told. The next one is maybe technically a little bit cheating because there are loads of stories coming in this world, but it's the Warbreaker world from Brandon Sanderson. There is supposed to be a sequel coming to this book. I don't know if there is one coming. It's after the Stormlight Archived and after the Mistborn, so it's going to be a few years till we get that. Also technically this is part of the same world or universe as the Stormlight Archived series and the Mistborn series, but I just want to see some more stories in this setting specifically from Warbreaker with all the magic and the societies and everything, because I just loved this book. For my next setting, I am sure there are loads of stories written in that setting, but I have never really found any that were to my liking, and that is historical Japan, or just Japan in general. That could be like real world Japan, maybe with some samurai stories or something, or that could be a fantasy world that is based on Japan. I have read a couple of books with that kind of setting, and I know of at least 1 or 2 more. But I just think that Japan has such a rich history and that there are so many possibilities that can be explored. Also, most historical novels set in Japan that I have found are kind of historical romance, and I'm not really that much of a fan of books anymore that are very romance heavy, so most of the times they just don't interest me. But if you know any good stories set in Japan or set in the world that's based on Japan, tell me in the comments down below, because I am really fascinated with that country and maybe just a little bit obsessed. Just a tiny little bit. So this last setting kind of hits close to home, and that is I would like to see more international authors writing stories that are set in Vienna or even Austria. And I know that there are a lot of stories set in Vienna, but what I feel is the case very often with those stories is that Austria and also Germany is reduced to the history of the First and the Second World War. And of course that is a very, very important part of our history, and I regularly try to educate myself on the role that we played in the 2 world wars. I have also talked to my grandparents a lot, who all of them lived through that time, but I still feel that there is so much more that could be told about Vienna than just the world wars. Just as an example, which is a very good and a very bad example at the same time, this is Gretel and the Dark. by Eliza Granville, and this book is partly set in Vienna around 1900, so around the turn of the century. And at the time, Vienna was actually one of the cultural centers of Europe, and it's a very interesting time. I mean, you have, for example, Sigmund Freud, and then you have artists like Klimt and Schiele, and so there's so much history hidden in my home city that I just feel it's not enough to just tell the stories about the Second World War or the First World War. Of course, at the same time, it's important to tell those stories. It's just not the kind of literature I prefer, and that's where this isn't really a good example, because it partly is set also during the Second World War. I just think that there should be a little bit more international literature, specifically, because of course there are Austrian authors who write stories that are set in Vienna, but most of those, at least that I have seen, are crime novels, and I don't really like crime novels, so If you also want to learn some more about Vienna, I have a little video about one of the most famous Viennese legends that I uploaded last week. I will leave it in the description box down below. And that is already everything that I had to say for this Top 5 Wednesday. I really hope you enjoyed it. If you did, please subscribe. Also tell me about your favorite settings in the comments down below. You can find the links to all of my social media in the description box. And I hope I'll see you soon. Kiss kiss!